first Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson had a baby, and now it's they were doing naughty stuff on set. I want a bad baby, but now they're gonna force it into the trilogy. And look, now Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson are already getting along. He's a control freak. Warner Brothers hates him, Matt Reeves hates him, everyone hates Robert Pattinson, but I love you. I love you, Robert Pattinson. Wait, it's happening. It's happening. They love him. Pattinson always prevails. Yo guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking more about the Batman. If you guys like these Batman videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a video or I go live. But without wasting any more time, I want to get right into it because in this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the newest leaks for the Batman movie. I'm also going to be talking about the new deal Robert Pattinson signed with Warner Brothers and what that means for the Batverse and the future of the Bat franchise. So the way this video is going to be structured is the first thing I'm going to talk about is the new Warner Brothers deal with Robert Pattinson. And then I'm going to talk about potential characters that we could see in this Batverse. And then I'm going to talk about all of the leaks that we've gotten over the past week or so regarding the Batman 1 movie. If you guys want to skip to any different part of the video, you can check the timestamps in the description down below. So the first thing we're going to be talking about today is the fact that Robert Pattinson signed a new deal with Warner Brothers. He signed a deal called the Overall First Look deal with Warner Brothers. This includes all Warner Brothers divisions such as Warner Brothers Pictures, New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers Television, and HBO Max. And this confirms what I said in my previous video about Robert Pattinson and Warner Brothers relationship and that there aren't really many issues between them. A lot of people were saying that Robert Pattinson was a pain to work with behind the scenes and there were a bunch of other issues going on behind the scenes and that future Batman movies might never happen. But all of this stuff from this excerpt itself in the article overall points to say the opposite. Warner Brothers specifically said that they're surprised by his work dynamic and his understanding of film along with passion, commitment, and a great person overall on set. This is another reason why Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson probably don't have that big of an issue when working together, because if Warner Brothers likes Matt Reeves and Warner Brothers likes Robert Pattinson and they're saying Robert Pattinson is a delightful person to work on set, then I don't think there are any issues between Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. Now the most important thing you should take out of this deal between Warner Brothers and Robert Pattinson is that Warner Brothers is happy as to what the Batman movie is becoming. This means that a Batverse is most likely coming. We already have an HBO Max show confirmed for the Gotham PD, and that means that the Batverse is currently going to be expanding. This also means that Warner Brothers is probably on good terms with Matt Reeves. They're probably going to have more involvement from Robert Pattinson on these Batman projects. Like I said before, this means that Robert Pattinson is going to have more involvement in the potential Batverse that we've all been talking about recently. This also means that Batman might have more cameos in the surrounding projects, such as the HBO Max show. This also means that we'll probably have more Batman projects in the future, not just direct Batman projects, but we might have a Batwoman spin-off show or a Batgirl spin-off show with Robert Pattinson's character having many cameos. Personally, I think there's a lot of potential, especially with Robert Pattinson signing this deal with Warner Brothers this soon, because the Batman movie isn't even done with post-production. And this means that Warner Brothers really had to like Robert Pattinson, which to me means that Robert Pattinson could become a massive creative force between all of these other spin-off shows of the Batverse. This hopefully means that we're also getting more shows other than just the Gotham PD show. And we might even get spin-off movies for villains and other side characters with the involvement of Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves. To me, this is all great because that means that we're going to have interconnection between all of these different projects. Now, we don't know how long this relationship between Warner Brothers and Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves will last. You know, Warner Brothers usually always screws up their deals and stuff like that. According to a lot of other people, just aren't great people. The company really sucks. But, you know, if Warner Brothers is having a good time with Robert Pattinson and Matt Reeves, I'm all in for it because all I'm asking for is a great trilogy of Batman movies along with some other side projects to create a nice Batverse. And I don't care how long this relationship lasts. I'm saying at least 6 years, please, because I just want a full Batverse. But as long as they're happy right now, I think that's all that matters for us Batman fans, and especially Batman fans for the Batman 2022 movie, because this means everyone is on the same page and everyone is on good terms. This also means that we'll have great Batman content coming our way with the stuff behind the scenes going really well. But I want to move on now and talk about potential characters I want to see in this Batverse since we are on the topic of a Batverse potentially happening. So I was talking to my friends and we really want to see Harvey Dent in this movie. and I don't want to see Two-Face specifically, but I definitely want to see the character of Harvey Dent. I think Harvey Dent's character has a lot of potential, especially since they're going to be covering the politics and corruption inside of Gotham City. A lot of people are rumoring it to be in a way that he's running against Penguin, so it would be Harvey Dent versus Penguin in the race for mayor in Gotham City. Honestly, I don't really care what they do with Harvey Dent's character. I just want to see him more. I want his character to be developed over time, and then I want to see a lot more of Two-Face, because I feel like if we get a good backstory on Harvey Dent, Two-Face will be more connectable and stuff like that, I guess you could say. Because, for example, in the Dark Knight movie, Harvey Dent was a great character, but we didn't get him as Two-Face as long as I really wanted to, and I think that's because they connected us more to Harvey Dent's character, since he had more of a personal connection to Bruce Wayne, and the Dark Knight was more about Bruce Wayne's personal crisis between Batman and being Bruce Wayne. This trilogy overall, honestly, seems to be covering the same exact topic of Batman not really knowing his identity and having kind of an identity crisis. So I do want Harvey Dent to be a bigger role in this Batverse. I don't want him to just be a one-off in a movie, but at the same time, I don't really think he could be a main villain, just because I don't think the scale that he has is big enough. I don't know much about Harvey Dent in the comics, but from what I know, he's more of a secondary villain, and that's kind of what I want to see. But overall, I definitely do want to see more of Harvey Dent. I want to see his story play out in Gotham, and honestly, I think he could be somewhat of a villain in the Gotham PD show. Hopefully, I think the Gotham PD show comes out between Batman 1 and Batman 2. If you do get a Batman 2, hopefully, please, Matt Reeves, make it happen, please. But I do see Harvey Dent having somewhat of a role in the Gotham PD show, since he is a politician, and this Batverse seems to be talking about politics and the corruption within Gotham. Another character that I would honestly really love to see in the Batverse is Batgirl. I don't know much about the character specifically, but I do have one fan casting that I love, and that is Zendaya in the Gotham PD show. I think that would be a great compliment to the show, and she could eventually have a major role in the Batverse, maybe in the third movie. I just want them to implement these characters slowly. I don't think they have to rush like Nolan did with his movies. I think Nolan wanted to limit his movies to 3. I think he honestly only wanted to do 1, but he ended up doing 2 more after that. So I definitely want to see Matt Reeves take his time with these characters, like I was talking about with Harvey Dent. I don't think that they should rush him into just 1 movie and then kill him off. I think they should build these characters up over time so we can build a good connection with them, because I think that's what matters when it comes to villains. I think, for example, Joker. I don't think the Joker movie itself spent enough time with him being Joker, but that's what I thought when I first watched the movie. Now looking back at it, I realized that is the only reason I connect with the character, is because we saw him so much as a normal person in the beginning. We saw him descend into madness. I think that's something that if we get that kind of story with Harvey Dent and we see him build it up over the course of even 2 to 3 movies, I think that's when we'll get a real connection with Two-Face, because it's not rushed. We actually get to connect with the character himself, and we might even sympathize for him because we care about his motives. We know that he's trying to do good for Gotham, but he can't because he turned evil. So there's just a bunch of smaller things I think that they could do to make Harvey Dent's character great, and in the same way with other characters that they're going to introduce, I just want Matt Reeves and Warner Brothers to take their time into implementing these characters and not just rush their IPs out there to get the money. So now I want to talk about all of the leaked photos and the calendar stuff that came out about a week and a half before this video came out. Personally, I think they were all phenomenal. I love all the costume designs, but one specific thing I want to talk about is the Riddler. Now, I have my own theories on how the Batverse movies are going to play out if they do have spin-off movies. The full video, you guys can check it out right here or right here, somewhere here. It'll be popped up on the screen, and there'll be a link in the description down below about all of my Batman videos. But I do want to talk about the Riddler specifically because I really like his costume. I know a lot of people on Twitter don't like it, and I understand why, because it's not that same costume that we're all used to, that bright green suit, but I think it matches what Matt Reeves is going for. It's giving us more of a serial killer, Zodiac killer vibe, and that's what I like about it. I know that this movie is obviously going to be more grounded, and I like that it's going this down into the ground. I know that Christopher Nolan's movies were already super grounded, but this one seems to be more of a gritty grounded, more underground from what I can tell. This entire Batverse might actually just kind of deep dive into the underground portion of it, and I think that's kind of what makes Gotham scarier. And that's honestly what I want in this set of movies, is I want Gotham to feel like an actual place of harm, because in the Nolan trilogy it felt more like the Gotham was just one big villain and then his goons. But I want there to be a set of villains already there. They're just roaming Gotham, because that's what Gotham is. Gotham creates these bad people, and then they have those who step up and lead the group. But there's always going to be groups of goons and bad people, and so I feel like that looming threat of having these goons in Gotham throughout the entirety of these movies, I think that is what is going to elevate this series above all the other Batman movies previously made. I want to kind of dive into the one photo that we got where we saw the Batman quotes. I can't really make it out too well, but I think it reads out something along the lines of, I know what I have to become. And so kind of connecting this with what the Batman really is in this movie, where he's more of a grounded character, kind of suffering with an identity crisis. So my main theory surrounding this is that Batman and the Riddler really aren't enemies. Now, Batman would obviously fight and kill Riddler if he had the chance, but Riddler's more teasing him, and Riddler's trying to explain to him how his own parents were corrupt, because in an interview, Matt Reeves said that Gotham has been corrupt for the longest time, and it's gone back generations. So I don't know why he would say that if it didn't imply that it's Batman's parents who are also corrupt. The Riddler is really just opening the eyes of Batman to show him the corruption in Gotham, because Batman's never really seen it since he is part of that rich group. There's a shot in the trailer at the very end where Batman asks, "What do I have to do with all of this?" Now, to me, this line itself really signifies a lot about the movie, because obviously now that we know the movie is about corruption, we can kind of connect it to the fact that Batman has always had his eyes closed about this topic in Gotham. He hasn't really obviously had to experience it because he's a high-class citizen of Gotham. So Riddler is kind of like feeding him a little bit of information at a time, teasing him and trying to get him to understand what is so wrong about Gotham and all of the corruption that's going on. And then this is obviously where we implement the Penguin and all of these other higher class characters that are running for different political positions in Gotham, and how they're keeping this place corrupt. This movie is honestly, to me, pushing kind of the boundary of Gotham is creating these villains. And that's kind of what I mentioned before in this video. And I think that that's important to talk about, because if we're talking about Gotham is creating these villains, or Gotham is creating these anti-heroes, or anything like that, even like Catwoman, she's technically an anti-hero. When Gotham is pushing all of these people to their edge and their tipping point, Batman is fighting all these people, not realizing that Gotham is what created them to become evil, or Gotham is what made them to become evil. And so when Riddler opens Batman's eyes up, that's when Batman sees the world completely different, and that's when Batman has to make a choice. The last thing I want to talk about is the quote from the Riddler that says, "No more lies." He wrote it on the face of the duct-taped guy in the trailer. To me, this quote itself shows what fuels the Riddler, and that's that he is stepping up now to stop the corruption in Gotham, but he can't do it without the Batman's help. So yeah guys, that's basically it for this video. If you guys want more Batman videos and you guys enjoy me going on these rants about Matt Reeves' Batman movie, let me know by dropping a like rating down below. Again, if you're new on here, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss any time I upload a video or I go live. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.